morning, my name is Christina, welcome to my home, and today we're going to go through the mid-year freakout tag. Intro card. Ding! I've never done the mid-year freakout tag before, but from what I've seen online in my extensive YouTube watching over the years, this tag is essentially a series of questions to review your year so far reading stats, favorites, I guess. And I just came across Carrie Can Read's 2025 mid-year freakout. So I thought, why not give it a go? So grab a beverage, a snuggly pet, mine's over there, and let's get started. The first question in the tag is, what's the best book you've read so far in 2025? Now, at this point, I've read 59 books so far, I believe, and I have 6 on my best book so far this year. My all-time favorite at this point being Deep End by Hazelwood. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love this book. I borrowed it from the library when it came out it would have been a couple weeks after it came out, because it was Hazelwood, obviously, is Miss Popular. Love it. So got it from the library, loved it so much. My book club in August is reading it, and so I had to buy a copy, and I got the sprayed edges, and I love it so much. This book is a contemporary romance. It follows a pair of collegiate athletes, Scarlett Vandermeer and Lucas Blomqvist. He's Swedish. And she is a high diver. He's a racer in swimming. And they essentially enter into a relationship. I don't even know. Anyway, when I tell you that my book club is ready for me to shut up about this book, because every single time it comes up at book club, I'm almost in tears with how excited I am, and I'm worried that I'm overhyping this book so much that no one at book club is going to like it. Anyway, I would say this book was a little bit controversial when it first came out. People were going off the deep end with how this was one of the spiciest books they've ever read. And I read it, and I love this book, but it's definitely not that. Maybe spicy is not the right word. Kinky. Kinky is the right word. With how kinky. People thought this book was like ridiculously kinky. And there is kink in it, but it's light BDSM. But I loved it. I've only read it once so far. I'm going to read it again, obviously, for book club in August. And I'm so excited. Okay, enough. The next favorite of the year so far is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This follows Florence Day, who is a ghost writer for a famous romance novelist. She lives in New York City, and she has the ability to talk to ghosts, which we find out all about when she's unexpectedly called back to her small hometown because her father passed away. This book deals so well with grief and celebrations of life, and celebrating the mundanity in the day-to-day. And it's one of my favorites. And I also borrowed this from the library. I cannot wait to own a physical copy. Insert physical copy here. And I'm stoked. I loved it so much. This whole video is just going to be like me. I love it so much. Okay. Next book we have. I haven't seen a whole lot of people talking about this one at all. I had never heard of the author before I came across this specific book. It's called A Rivalry of Hearts by Tessonja Odette. I hope I'm saying her name right. And this book is the first book in a trilogy called The trilogy is called, what's it called? Fae Flings and Corset Strings, or something like that. You have Fae and humans and Fae shifters. living in this world together, but there is a specific island that is exclusive to Fae, essentially. And we have a new author who is starting out on a book tour, but she's late because the ship that she was taking from her human lands to the Fae land was delayed. They went into the wrong port because of storms, I believe, and she, because her ticket was for a certain port, I think she got detained. So she was late for her book tour. And so when she gets to her book tour, there's another poetry author who's there, and he's like so hot. But now she's competing with him. Essentially, they have a rivalry to like whoever can get the most people or the biggest turnout on their joint book tour wins this contest. Anyway, when I tell you that this book made me blush, oh, it was so good. It was so good. Again, I need to own all of these books. I don't own this one. I can't wait to own it. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I think I need to go faster because this is taking so long. The next book I read that was an absolute favorite is Enchantra by Kaylie Smith. I read both Phantasma and Enchantra this year, and of the two, Enchantra is by far my favorite. It follows Genevieve Grimm, who is the sister to Ophelia from book one, and she decides she wants to learn more about her mother's past. So she finds a photograph of her mom and a man from years and years ago and decides to write to him. And he lives in Italy with his family. And so she shows up one day. She's told she needs to arrive before a certain date. She arrives after a certain date and sneaks into the estate. And now she's involved in essentially a fight to the death competition where the family or the siblings of this man need to compete. And they do they're immortal, I believe, but they can die in this competition. And so she is actually mortal, so she will actually die. But she's brought in and it's fun. It's very spicy. And again, it was so good that I had to buy a physical copy. My next favorite is Silver Elite by Dani Francis. I spoke about this in my May reading wrap up because I read it in May and I loved that book so much. There was a lot of controversy about this book. If you have any, if you haven't heard about the controversies and you are interested in looking up, please go watch other people's videos who are much more eloquent and well-spoken than I am, and you can learn all about the potential issues with this book and the publishing industry. I loved this book. It was so good. Very much an adult divergent where certain people have certain abilities. The government doesn't want them to have these abilities, and so they must keep them a secret. She, the main character, is very talented at firing rifles. She makes a shot from like far, 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 far away. And then they find out that she's the ward of one of the biggest rebels in the government. Not the government, against the government. So they kidnap him or they detain him, and she's forced to enroll in their like military academy to become I don't even remember what they're called, but essentially become part of like their military police, really, or their police force, and potentially join the ranks of the Silver Elite. So many little good twisty bits. I need a copy. And the last book on my list is the last book on my favorite books of 2025 so far is Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. I just finished reading this book, and I'm not going to go into too much depth about it because my friend Crystal and I are going to discuss it on our next podcast episode, Double Booked with Chris and Chris, if you want to check it out. And I read this book in 2 days. It's over 600 pages long, less than 48 hours, and it was done. I don't know what to say. It was so good. Again, I'm going to go into in-depth. I'm going to go in-depth with Crystal next week when we discuss it, but it was so good. Okay. Question 2. That was long-winded. We've already been doing this for 15 minutes. So let's try and not, let's wrap it up. We're on question 2. Best sequel you've read so far in 2025. I've read several sequels, but my favorites, and I apologize. I'm going to repeat a lot of books for these because I'm a basic girl, and I loved what I loved. I've read a lot of sequels this year so far, but the 2 that I've put on my list, or I've put 2 on my list, and the first one is A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle Jensen. This is the second book in the Saga of the Unfated duology. So this is the second book, final book. It's not too long. The first book is of similar length, so you could totally get through these really quickly. This story follows Freya, who is a fisherman's wife, essentially, in some Norse country. This is a Norse mythology fantasy, and we learn that certain people are blessed with god blood. The Norse gods give a drop of their blood at conception, and they have powers. So Freya is able to hold a shield or any object and call upon her goddess, and that shield becomes magically imbued, and it'll repel anything and everything. She meets up with Bjorn, who is the son of the Jarl who's trying to find the Shield Maiden, and Bjorn has a fire axe, and he can throw it, he can light fires, he can, it's essentially an almost indestructible is not the right word, but it makes him very powerful in a fight. Anyway, this is the second book. It was so good. I'm already looking forward to rereading this and rereading. So I read book 1, A Fate Inked in Blood. A Fate Inked in Blood is book 1. I've read that one twice. I read it the first time last year and then read it again this year in preparation for book 2. And then we discussed this in my Smutty Book Club. Oh, it was so good. And I've got the copy with the foiled edging. I love it so much. It's so beautiful. I need to reorganize my bookshelves, but I had these ones facing out because they're just so pretty. I love them so much. Okay, the second the second sequel that I absolutely loved this year, I didn't think I was going to like it as much as book 1, is My Feral Romance by Tessonja Odette. Again, insert physical copy here when I pick it up. This is part of the Fae Flings and Corset Strings trilogy by that author, and is the sequel to My Feral Romance, A Rivalry of Hearts. They are interconnected. It's an interconnected trilogy, so we follow a different set of characters in book 2 than book 1, but they make reference to book 1, so you need to read them in order. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I was expecting. Like, these books are so if you're looking for a true cozy romance, cozy fantasy, very low stakes, these are the books for you. I remember years ago everyone was like, oh, Legends and Lattes, it's so low stakes, it's so cozy. I didn't think so. A Rivalry of Hearts, My Feral Romance, yes. Those ones, absolutely perfect. Pick them up, read them, devour them. Book 3 is coming out. I don't think it has a publication date yet. I don't think it does, but I'm excited to read that one. Okay, next question. A new release you haven't read yet but want to. Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood. There are quite a few Hazelwood novels on this list, but I love her. And this one blew up when it came out. Obviously, Deep End. She's published 3 books this year so far. Deep End, Problematic Summer Romance, and Mate is coming up in October. We're going to talk about that one later. So Problematic Summer Romance came out in May, I believe, and it is, I want to say it's an indirect sequel to Not in Love. Again, interconnected, follows a character, I believe, that was introduced in Not in Love, that obviously wasn't the main character. I need to go through all of her books again. I've read all of them except that one so far. And I can't wait. I love her. I think she is my favorite author. I don't know what to tell you. Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood. Okay, next question. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Like I said, Mate by Hazelwood. That comes out in October, excuse me. Then we've got Brimstone by Hart, which is the sequel to Quicksilver. I believe that's coming out in November. Then we have, I've never read anything by this author, but I saw someone on Instagram had received an ARC and loved it. And the cover was really, really cute. I believe it's an romance, kind of academic partner rivals to lovers, if my understanding is correct. And it's called The Entanglement of Rival Wizards by Sara Raasch. It looks and sounds so good. So I'm really stoked for that one to come out. I believe that one comes out in August. And then we have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Brigitte and Knightley. I think this was the one that I'm most excited about. It comes out in July. I've already pre-ordered it. And it is the fan fiction that she rewrote into this book was the fan fiction that started my love for fan fiction. Originally, or I guess it's still available to read on AO3 for free. It's called Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. This whole video is just, I loved it so much. I can't wait to read it. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so good. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. What do you want from me? I can't wait. Okay. Now we get into the real meat of it. Let me have a tea break. Biggest disappointment of the year. I've got 2 books, technically 3 books on this list. The first one is called A Blue Ribbon Romance by C.M. Nascosta. I read this book in May. It's the sequel, same timeline as book 1, but the sequel to Morning Glory Milking Farm from Rourke's perspective, the MMC. I just remember I enjoyed the story a lot from book 1 when I read that last year. This one, again, we're following the same storyline, but from his perspective, so we don't see all the same things. Obviously we're not following the FMC, excuse me, but I didn't love the writing in this one. I thought he felt a little bit too possessive, or like the language that he was using to describe the FMC in his mind, or when he was thinking about her, or to his friends. I just didn't love it. But I am looking forward to reading the rest of the books in this series. I think they're all kind of like interconnected, but not direct sequels. And then the next duology that I have on this list is A Court of Ravens duology by Liv Zander. And these books are Feathers So Vicious and Shadows So Cruel. I wouldn't say that I disliked them, but I didn't vibe with them the same way that I do with my favorites. These books they have a lot of very dark themes, but it feels like it's very descriptive, very like gratuitous in their assault and violence. And I didn't love it. We read it for my smutty book club, and I think I was very vocal about it because I'd seen so much online about these books and how so many people loved them. And a lot of people DNF'd it because it was so violent and graphic. So if you do decide to pick these up, please read any trigger and content warnings. It's very, very dark, very dark. And I just didn't love it. I didn't love the duology. Okay, we've already talked about it, but the next question is, what was the biggest surprise of 2025. And honestly, it was Deep End by Hazelwood. Again, she is becoming an auto-buy author for me. I've read all her books, borrowed them all from the library, and I only own 3. I have Bride, Not in Love, and Deep End. And I can't wait to have an entire Hazelwood bookshelf. But this one, I don't know, like I tend to not read synopses when I go into books. I like going in blind. And honestly, this was a huge hit for me. Again, the light BDSM, if you go in fully understanding like what you're gonna get, yeah. Also, I do synchronized swimming for fun, but now I want to become a high diver and like kick ass doing that now too. I love it. Okay. All right. Next question. New favorite author has to be Ashley Poston. I've read 3 of her books so far this year. The first one, or yes, in reading order. I believe this is also the publication order of the 3 that I've read so far. The Dead Romantics, The 7-Year Slip, and A Novel Love Story. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. The second 2 I read on audio. I listened to the audiobooks, and I can't wait to read them with my eyeballs in person. And again, insert physical copy here. The Dead Romantics must have changed my life because I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. The 7-Year Slip, again, so good. Very similar and not to The Time Traveler's Wife. I mean, like, so different, so different, but like similar aspects of it. And then A Novel Love Story. That was my least favorite of the 3, but I still really enjoyed it by the end. I found the beginning a little bit slow, but I think my reading experience would be very different if I could read it on paper as opposed to listening to it. But I'm so excited to pick these up again and again. Insert physical copy here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions left. Yeah, 6 questions left. Newest fictional crush. I have 3 so far. The first one is Blackwell from Phantasma. Is he a devil? I can't remember. Anyway, he partners with Ophelia in this book to help her kind of through the magical trials that she's got to survive. And he's wonderful. I like him a lot. Next fictional crush is Rowan Silver from Enchantra. I think I like him better than Blackwell, honestly. Let's be real. He's wonderful. And then third is the Guardian from Shield of Sparrows. He's just so like grumpy and funny, and I like him a lot. Yeah, I like him a lot. Okay. Newest favorite characters. Newest favorite character. Again, I've got 2. We have Odessa Cross from Shield of Sparrows. What I liked about her is that she doesn't feel like your typical FMC female main character. She's the eldest daughter to the king of the land, but her younger half-sister has been chosen to be the bride for the prince of the visiting kingdom. There's a tree called the Shield of Sparrows where the daughter and the prince, or the daughter and the son of neighboring kingdoms essentially join in a union of marriage as a treaty to help keep peace in the kingdoms. And Odessa, Maeve, oh my gosh, why don't I remember her name? Anyway, Odessa's sister is the one that's selected originally, but when the prince and his retinue of army people come, they pick Odessa instead, and she has no training. She's essentially told the night before she's due to leave that she has to become a spy for her father to figure out how to protect the land, and she has no training. She's very uncoordinated. Her like fighting instructors, archery, sword fighting. They basically tell her that she's going to hurt herself, so she's never really practiced anything. She is an avid cliff jumper, which is fun, and likes to swim, and that's really all she's kind of good at. So what I liked about this story is that she's not some all-powerful, super skilled person. She has to learn how to do these things. And I really enjoyed that. And my next favorite character is Florence Day, from The Dead Romantics. Again, she is a ghostwriter for a famous romance novelist, but she can speak to ghosts, and I love that. Actually, I'm going to add a third. Genevieve Grimm from Enchantra. One of my favorite lines in this book, something along the lines of, I don't remember the situation specifically, but she and Rowan are in this thing where she's like, I guess, I don't know if she has to get changed or something because like her dress is dirty. And she's like, turn around, like, I don't want you to see me naked. And he's like, well, like, don't worry, I've seen it all before. And she goes, well, no, you actually haven't. She's so sassy. No, you actually haven't, because you've never seen me before. And I'm fucking fantastic. Like, I'm, absolutely gorgeous. And just this, like, just the sass of like, actually, no, you haven't seen this before. I loved it. I loved it. Oh, it was so good. Okay, next question. Book that made you cry. The Dead Romantics, hands down. The Dead Romantics. Book that made you cry. Book that made you cry. I'm gonna cry from excitement. Again, this book deals a lot with grief, and life, and her family. Her parents run the local funeral home in their very small town. I think it's the only funeral home in town. But her father was always so passionate about his job as the funeral director, and now he's passed away, and so they need to now navigate planning his funeral and, coming together as a family. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I bawled my eyes out at the end. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah, I do have a bunch of repeats, and I don't apologize. I like what I like. Book that made you happy. Enchantra and Deep End. I've already said them. I'm saying them again. Enchantra by Kaylie Smith and Deep End by Hazelwood. Yes. The most beautiful book that you've bought so far this year. Again, A Curse Carved in Bone, because I really love the foiled edging. I think the cover is also absolutely beautiful. And then you have an embossed hardcover. I don't know what to say. This with the really beautiful foiling on the spine as well. And then again, because I'm not going to shut up about it, I am this one. I just love it. It does have some, like, I don't even know how you describe it. When like it's kind of raised, but it's not embossed. Like, it doesn't go through on both sides, but it's got water droplets. And then I just really love the pool sprayed edges. I don't have a Cricut, but my friend has a Cricut, and I kind of want to like spray the edges of some of my other books to make them beautiful, because that's a new thing that's really started coming out this year or last year, is the sprayed edges. And I love that so much. So I want all my books to have sprayed edges. Okay, last question and last book. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I'm gonna give you two. One is my current read, which is Lost and Lassoed by Lyla Sage, book 3 in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, following Teddy and Gus. Love it. And then the last book, or the second book that I want to read, it's actually available to me from the library. I have it on my Kobo, and I'm going to start reading it as soon as I'm done, Lost and Lassoed. And it is Careless People by Sara Wynn-Williams, which is the memoir, I guess is it a memoir of Sara Wynn-Williams from when she worked at Facebook and Meta. And apparently there's a lot of secrets in it. And I may be deleting all my social media once I finish reading it. We'll see. So those are the books that I have on my list. And I think I did an okay job at this. Now we're going to edit it and see if we did okay. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, please like and subscribe and tell me what your favorite book of 2025 is so far in the comments. And hopefully I can get some new suggestions, and hopefully I gave you some suggestions for books to read this year. Okay, thank you. Bye.